back. Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're now moving into our final segment for the morning. Now, this one is all about tips on selecting the best insurance plan for your needs. Marsha Gill, who is a senior financial advisor, is on with us. She's on the screen. Marsha, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We are doing great. You've got all the tips that we need, exactly where we'd like to start. Now, Marsha, you know, insurance, especially when it comes to your life insurance or insurance on a whole, for a lot of people, when it comes to getting rid of a bill, the first one, a lot of people would cut their insurance. Why is it important to have insurance?
It's very important to have insurance for many reasons. And just a follow-up, since, you know, COVID is a hot topic, especially health insurance has been something that I think that persons now have appreciated the importance of having it in place, right? Because we all know that medical expenses can be very high. And we also know that when there is the absence of health insurance, it actually can result in loss of life and so forth. So I think that persons are coming to realize how important it is to have insurance on a whole.
Yeah. So, and that was going to be my question. There are two schools of thought. There are people who think insurance is necessary, hopefully can afford it and pick a plan. And there are those who say, no, that's gonna, you know, it's an unnecessary spending. Who would you say are people who should consider the different insurance plans? Because you have life, you have health, you have, of course, the ones that are mandated, property, your vehicle.
Yeah.
But let's start with that. For people who are on the fence.
Everybody should have insurance. For persons with life insurance, once you have a family or somebody that depends on you, you need to have life insurance. Because without it, families suffer, bills are left unpaid. So everybody that has anybody that is dependent on them needs to have life insurance in place.
Okay, so that's one of the considerations. If I have a family and I want to leave them with something, a life insurance is something that will benefit them.
For sure, most definitely.
Now, if I've never considered it, that sounds like a really expensive thing to pay for. How do I choose what's best for me?
Well, insurance is very affordable. For some reason, people think that it's expensive to have insurance. It can be affordable. And normally what we would do is to sit with a person, look at their budgeting, look at what they can afford, and then we would tailor something that would suit them. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. So everybody is at different stages. Everybody can afford something different. So really, it's what you can afford. Then we would recommend what would suit you at this stage. And Marlene, it doesn't mean that what you start with today will be what you will have forever, because it's actually encouraged that as you're able to upgrade and do more, that you do so.
But you know, Marsha, I might be too, I could say, you know what, I'm too old to get insurance. You know, my premium might just be too high. Do you think that's the case?
Yes, you are right in the sense that the older you are, the cost of insurance can be higher.
Why is this?
Because your risk is higher as you get older. So the costs will be higher. But again, you can then find a plan that would be affordable for you. For example, for an older person where budget is an issue, we might want to offer them a term insurance, right? Because the term insurance would be more affordable than, say, offering a cash value insurance. So as I said before, it all comes down to what the client can afford, right? That we will then recommend what would suit that particular situation.
Yeah.
Marlene did move into the various types, or some various types of insurance that we've got out there. But can you expand on it? What kind of insurance do we have out there?
Okay, so we have life insurance, we have health insurance, there's critical illness coverage, we have endowment plans, we have pensions. So basically, we have services that come in line with person's financial planning. Okay, so there are different types of insurance that we offer.
So I wanna dive into health insurance because that's one of the things that perhaps you don't know you really need it until you need it. And so often we have people, I mean, healthcare can cripple a family's finances when things get really serious, whether it's cancer, a sudden, stroke, or something that that requires a lot of money to take care of, a serious surgery. Some people get stuck at even receiving treatment because they simply can't afford it. Let's talk about health insurance plans, how affordable they are, and who you recommend to get them.
Okay. So health insurance can be accessed via a group. If you work with a company that offers health insurance, it's advisable to go on that plan because the cost is usually lower. Because in most cases, the companies would subsidize the cost of the insurance. And I know that sometimes companies don't make it mandatory. So it's left up to the employee, to decide if they choose to go on the plan. And some might choose not. And unfortunately, in most cases, the ones who choose not to be on it are the ones who get afflicted with an illness. And everybody has to fundraise for them. So I say to persons, if your company is offering it as a benefit, do it. Jump on the plan.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have access to a group coverage, then you could access it individually. And it can be very affordable because there are things that we can do to manage the cost of an individual health insurance. So we can go with a low coverage, we can look at a higher deductible. So again, it comes back to working with the client and see what they're able to afford. But the important thing is to put it in place because Marlene, even if you go with a high deductible, for example, a 1,000 or a 2,000 deductible, the chances are you can find $1,000 or $2,000 to come out of pocket. But if your expenses go to 5,000, 10,000, hundreds of thousands, how will you come up with that? Right? So it's important to have the insurance because, as you rightfully say, it's like a parachute. If you don't have it when you need it, then it won't matter after that.
That's true.
Right? And you also want to be able to get it at a time when you're still healthy.
Yeah.
Because if you wait until you're afflicted with a condition, then it becomes challenging to put it in place. Right? So you want to do it as early as possible. And that's why when I speak to young people, I tell them, because young people have this myth that they're too young to be afflicted with certain illnesses. And gone are the days when we look at cancer and certain things and say they're old people diseases. They're young people, young children have been afflicted with these diseases. So I say to persons, get it as early as you can. For parents, as soon as a child is born, put them on a plan, right? Because children can develop illnesses as well. So everybody needs to have health insurance and do it as early as possible.
Yeah, you're
yes.
right.
And you're so right. You don't think about health insurance when you don't need it. So when you feel healthy, it's like, why would I spend on that?
Yeah.
But it makes a difference then.
Because nobody dodges that health bullet. There will come a time whereby sickness will set in. I don't promote nobody, but I'm being honest here. But one of the things I wanted to get to, Marsha, that you mentioned is actually group insurance. When you talk about group insurance, you're talking about from an employee standpoint or work standpoint, or can families have group insurance?
No, families can't have group insurance because there's certain characteristics that has to be in place to make it a group plan. So usually group plans are for companies, they're for associations, and basically a grouping of people that come together with a specific goal.
Okay.
And it's usually registered. So a group of family members can come together and say, okay, we're going to form a family group plan. No. But what you can do in your family, you could have a plan and have your spouse and your children covered under one plan. So that is called a family plan, not a group plan.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And you also, when you talk about the different coverage, you said you can do a more affordable plan. What's the basic? Let's say I have a small family and, things are hard right now across the board. And the last thing you want to think is spending extra money on another bill. But if my baby gets sick, I want to ensure that I can give her the best care possible and not have to wait to be able to get her treatment. What would you say is how affordable can it be?
Oh, a plan, Marlene, can run for a health plan that covers a family, can run as low as under 200 monthly. So if you have a mother and they have a child, basically one dependent, you can cover both persons on a plan for under 200 or a little over 200.
Yeah.
And again, it would be determined, the cost would be determined by the deductible.
Yeah.
So to manage the cost, we can, offer a higher deductible so that the coverage is in place, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a way. There's a way. Once persons are interested, we work with them to basically, because we feel that everybody needs to have insurance because people die every day because they don't have access to the best health care. And I mean, something small, like I had an incident recently, somebody mentioned to me, somebody has COVID, and I think that with this new variant where people are saying, oh, people are not dying, people might not be dying, but they're being hospitalized. So I had an incident where somebody mentioned recently he had COVID and he was hospitalized one night and his bill was $8,000.
Wow.
So we're not dying from it, but we are getting treatment because sometimes people have infection due to the COVID, So, I mean, it's not cheap. You can go and do an MRI and 2,000. Who walks around with 2,000 to pay for an MRI?
Yeah. Even with things like cancer. I'm not talking cancer treatment. I'm talking like detecting it. The cost of a biopsy is expensive. The people who have something that needs to be checked and they're asking for help. So these are some of the things that we know you don't expect them, but you can plan for them. Now, we had a economics professor, Dr. Albert Williams, on the show a few weeks back. And he talked about the situation in Belize and financial planning. And one of the things he said is that people need to buy insurance. You need to get insurance because that is a protection for you. And so that's part of the conversation we're having today. Marsha, have you seen a growing interest from people? Is insurance something for just, the wealthy people who can afford it? Or are you seeing more people trying to get some protection?
I must say, Marlene, that I'm very encouraged by the younger people. And I think that I would want to say because of the education that I find my young persons are more receptive when we speak about insurance. And, they are going to school, they are going further in terms of their education. And so they know about these things when they study. So when I meet with them and I introduce these things, I have some of them very surprised. Like, for example, when I speak about endowment plans, they were like, Miss Gill, I didn't know that, we can get something like this in Belize. So it comes down to education. And I am encouraged that I am seeing an increase in persons being receptive to having a conversation regarding putting insurance in place.
Okay.
That, of course, is good news. But no, Marsh, there are a lot of insurance companies. I'm not sure which one you're representing, but I must ask the question because this is something my wife, the entire family might be asking or might sit down to ask. Which or how do I go around choosing a company that would suit my needs?
Well, you want to do some research on the company because remember, it's an intangible that we offer. And until you are in a position where you want to make a claim or access the service, then you really see, what you've been paying for. So you want to look at the company, the history of the company, how long they have been in business, what are their reputation in terms of paying claims, So those are some of the things you would want to find out. Have conversations with persons who have insurance in place and ask them what is their experience, because I find that sometimes persons who don't have insurance are the ones who always have a lot to say. And in most cases, the information that they share is inaccurate.
Yeah.
So you want to speak with persons who have insurance in place and have experienced the benefits of what we offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about other forms of insurance that's available. I know a lot of people don't know it, but you can get renter's protection. In other words, sometimes you don't own the home, so you don't have protection for everything. But if I'm renting and something happens, I could get protection for my property.
Wow. Is this so?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Can you imagine furnishing your whole house all over again?
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
So what you're referring to, Marlene, is what we call contents insurance.
Yes.
And persons think that they have to be homeowners to be able to access this type of insurance. But as you rightfully say, even if you're renting a property, you can insure your contents. The house might not be yours, but the contents are for you.
Yeah.
So you're able to cover your items in that you have in your house. If you have an office, you can, and you're renting as well, you can cover the content. So that is what is referred to as contents insurance, and it's a very affordable form of insurance as well.
Wow.
Yeah. What does it protect you from?
Perils, fire, floods, hurricane, basically the same things that would cover the house itself, covers the contents.
Wow.
Yes.
So that's also another one I know people are less aware of. What else would you say that people should consider?
I think endowment plans are an excellent plans for persons to access as well.
Endowment plans?
Yes, endowment plans, those are excellent plans because the focus on endowments is really savings. It's really planning and putting aside so that you know what you have. And one of the advantages of an endowment plan, because clients would ask me, so what is the difference if I save at the credit union or the bank as opposed to saving on an endowment? Now, because we know that interest rates are volatile, they change, and we don't have control over it at any time to know where it will be, endowments basically give you a guaranteed return. So no matter what happens in the market, inflation, you're guaranteed to receive a sum of money at a specific time. So for me, at my age right now, planning for retirement, I'm not into taking any risk. So I want to be able to put my monies that are invested in something that I know for sure I will have this amount of money at a specified period of time. And in addition to these plans offering that guarantee, they also protect your family at the same time. So I like to refer to it as a two-in-one plan, because if anything were to happen to you before the endowment matures, the monies would go to your beneficiary. So you're protecting your family at the same time while planning for long-term savings or short-term savings, because you can do both short-term and long-term endowments. So those are excellent plans, and I find that persons, even when they approach for life insurance and I would expose them to the benefits of endowment, in most cases they go with the endowment plan because it does what the life insurance will do, and in addition provide them with a savings fund.
Yeah.
So that has been something, it's new to the market because it has been introduced for a few years now, but it's really, really, really an excellent plan.
Wow. These are eye-opening situations for me. A lot of people hear about insurance indeed and don't know exactly the benefits of it and why they should have it indeed. But I'm so glad that you actually broke down, especially for me, how you go around choosing the company that you want. Today with technology, is it advisable that I walk into the company to find out what's next, or do I go online and I find out the information that I need?
You can go online because most companies now have moved. Everything is virtual now. So all the information about the company you can definitely access online. You could call an agent on the phone. So you don't necessarily have to come. As a matter of fact, having the interview is done virtually as well. So all the information that you need, you can get without coming into an office.
Wow. Marsha, you have definitely...
So I have one more question before you
sure.
go. Yeah, I know. Just how important is it that you read and go over your policy? Because I think that's where people get skeptical. They don't understand deductibles or didn't know what the deductible would be.
Normally, an advisor would summarize their benefits, but we always encourage our clients to read through your contract. Your contract is your Bible. Yeah. It's a legal document. So even though we might explain at length the benefits that you have in place, the onus is on you to read your contract and be familiar so that if there's something that's not so clear, we can clarify it, we can discuss it, so you know exactly, because you don't want to wait until claim day and say, oh, I didn't know. So you need to know. You need to know. And even in reading the contract, we don't expect our clients to remember everything that's in the contract, but reading does register something so that when something does occur, you might remember, you know what, I think I read something like this and I can go back to my contract, or I
Yeah.
could contact my advisor and find out if this particular situation is covered under my plan.
Wow. You've broken it down for us, Marsha. Anything else you'd like to share with us before we leave?
I just want to say, I know that one of the discussions have been, and several clients have reached out regarding COVID,
Yes.
if our life insurance pays for COVID deaths and so forth. And I want to say yes. Because for some reason, the discussion on the street is that, oh, if you die from COVID, your insurance won't pay for that. It's death. It doesn't matter how you die, the insurance will pay. So if you have a life insurance plan and you die, the insurance will pay. If you're ill with COVID, the health insurance is paying for COVID expenses.
Yeah.
So be satisfied that yes, we are here and we will pick up those bills as they come along.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've said it, Marsh. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning and providing us with the information we need to try and get our insurance plan. Thank you.
Thank you too. You have a good day.
All right.
We're about to take our final break of the morning, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping things up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.